Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. Your life is not a book, it's an entire library. The whole thing, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. It's an entire library. And so you don't have one story, you have many, many stories. When you can tell a better story, you will live a better life because you're telling that story from the perspective of your memories and the way they are. Now, I shared a story about reclassifying your library. Instead of stacking books in the order of acquisition, which is this happened in 1999 and this one happened, instead of doing that, classify them like the Dewey Decimal System. Put it in the section that it belongs in and look at it against the other books and memories in that section, but not just your books and memories, what was going on in society, what was happening. So I saw a post from my friend Richard Honeywell that it was Caribbean Appreciation Month or Caribbean Pride Month, Caribbean celebration. It is time. And so he said, "Who's your favorite Calypsonian?" Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I have not thought about my favorite Calypsonians in too long. So I wrote Calypso Rose, the Mighty Sparrow. Then I started thinking, and then I had some work to do. I had laundry. I was making a dress, and I had some emails to respond to. But nowadays you can just go to YouTube and find a whole channel, or you can just mix a bunch of calypso. Well, let me tell you something. My back ain't never been the same. I put that music on and I started whining and dancing and moving. And I was at the ironing board and I was getting it. And I was at the washing machine and I was whining because I had the music in my pocket. And I was like, when did I stop listening to this music? I was introduced to Calypso, when I went to college at Jacksonville University. It wasn't the college that introduced me. My friends were all from the islands, from all over the place, and I was determined to make friends with people who knew something that I didn't know, because the more diverse you are, the more intelligent, productive, creative are your outcomes. And so internal diversity is more important than external diversity. The room won't look diverse until you do. So my friends introduced me to that music. Now, I went from saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues as the Spirit gives utterance, which means you better not be dancing, to whining at Carnival. Let me tell you something. And it was like, well, how do you go from you can't dance, dancing is a horrible sin, to Calypso, which is the most bawdy and hidden meanings and all of that? And it was like I had forgotten. And suffering from a head injury, you do forget some things, but you also forget pieces of yourself. And we've all been through a head injury with this thing called the pandemic. And we've all had some trauma in our lives that makes us focus more on the trauma and less on the life. I spent the entire day. I was so sore by the time I got in the bed. I was thanking God for that bed like I never thanked God for before. I did not get through my through my prayers. I was just like, Complin who? And the joy of remembering, putting it in a different category, enabled me to go back, not, oh, this is about this is about that, oh, this is their month, you're from Delaware, this is not for you. Yes, it is. Because when I became friends with Peppa Pat, who was also a Calypsonian and my roommate and now Dr. Pat Morris, I got a chance to experience that up close. And so I moved it from an old memory and I put it in arts and recreation. And I was like, ooh, I put it in world studies. I had such a good time. I had such a good time. And I'm about to do it again. Revisit your life. Reclassify your memories. Don't just stack them in 72. Do it up against the other stories that were next to it and see why life was beautiful even in the midst of pain. I love you.